Dun Shows World.
Welcome to Shows World Gamers, Josh here, and as this week draws to a close, I wanted to take a moment to look at this week's biggest news stories, this week's gaming announcements, and this week's new video game releases. If this is your first time on the channel, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button to join in on the fun. Alright gamers, let's kick off this week in review with a few news stories. Now we did finally get that big June Nintendo Direct this week, and well, it did not disappoint. The Direct kicked off with Mario & Luigi Brotherhood, an all-new game in the fun comedic role-playing game franchise, and it ended with us finally getting our first look at gameplay, showed off the brand new, upcoming Metroid Prime 4 that we've been waiting forever for. And in between those two, we got a brand new Zelda game announcement, a brand new Mario Party game announcement, a remake of the Wii classic Donkey Kong Country returns, and just so much more. We also have more Super Nintendo World news this week. This time, the news comes from the Super Nintendo World in Universal Studios Hollywood. As a surprise new interactive game was added to the land. The new edition can be found on the upper level of the land in the snowy, icy area inside one of the caves. This new game has you using a random power-up you receive by hitting a question block. Then, you have to take out the baddies that appear on the wall, and there is multiple versions of the game adding to the replayability. Now, in the struggling world of VR headsets, Apple's very expensive $3,500 Vision Pro sales, well, they've been struggling. So apparently, Apple has suspended the work that was being done on the Vision Pro 2. And now they are shifting those resources to focus on making a more affordable version of the Apple Vision Pro headset. This will be a scaled down version of the current headset, but no details have been given just yet. Next up, let's take a look at some gaming announcements. And as we talked about before, Metroid Prime 4 was finally shown off, and it was actually given a 2025 release window. The game looks really good, and I can't wait to get my hands on the game. Although I'm still expecting, especially with the 2025 release, that this will be a cross-gen game, and it will have a version for Nintendo's next console, and that's probably where I'll be playing this game. Now, The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom was also announced at the aforementioned Nintendo Direct. The game is an all-new adventure with the graphic style and top-down style of the Link's Awakening remake on the Switch. In the game, you will actually be playing as Princess Zelda, and you'll use a wand to save Hyrule and Link when the game releases on September 26th. Now, Shovel Knight Shovel of Hope DX received an announcement trailer this week, and it is a remade version of the original Shovel Knight indie classic that kicked off this beloved franchise. This version of the game has a ton of additions with online multiplayer, 20 playable characters, and much more. Now, Mario & Luigi Brotherhood was, as we discussed earlier, the game that kicked off the Nintendo Direct, and it is releasing on November 7th, exclusively on the Switch. This is an all-new game in the really fun Mario & Luigi role-playing game franchise that has been a staple on Nintendo's portable consoles for years. Now, Super Mario Party Jamboree was also announced at the Direct with a release date of October 17th exclusively on the Nintendo Switch. This is being called the biggest Mario Party game yet, with 5 new game boards, 2 returning boards, and over 110 mini-games along with multiple game modes. Alright gamers, let's finish up with this week's new video game releases. Now, the huge expansion for the 2022 Game of the Year has finally released for the PlayStation 5, the PC, and Xbox Series systems. Elden Ring Shadows of the Erdtree is a huge expansion that will take you beyond the lands between to the lands of Shadow. From Software has stated this will be the only expansion for the game. And just a side note, there is certain bosses you have to beat before you're able to play this add-on, so definitely make sure if you're picking this up that you're ready to go. Now, also in a shadow drop during the Nintendo Direct, we got more games added to the Nintendo Switch Online service. This time, in the libraries of the expansion pack, we received new games for Game Boy Advance. The games were The Legend of Zelda 4 Swords, as well as Metroid Zero Missions. And we got a new section added as Nintendo 64 Mature 17 Plus, where we got Turok the Dinosaur Hunter and Perfect Dark. Now, Still Wakes the Deep released this week on the PlayStation 5, PC, Xbox Series systems, and is a day one release on Game Pass. The game is a survival horror game that takes place on an oil rig off the coast of the Scottish mainland during Christmas of 1975. You will be traversing this huge ship as you attempt to save your crew from otherworldly horrors and struggle to stay alive. Alright gamers, that concludes this week in review for the week ending on June 21st. The week started with Elden Ring players rushing back into the game to take on Mog, Lord of Blood, as beating him is a requirement if you plan to play the new DLC. Then we finally got the June Nintendo Direct, which wraps up the game showcase season. And the week ended with reports of Luigi's Mansion 2 pre-orders being canceled by retailers. So if you pre-ordered the game, I suggest checking to make sure your pre-order is still valid. But let me know anything we may have missed in the comments, and thanks for joining us today, gamers. Shojo World, out.